Welcome back. It's still Friday, April 11th, 2014. This is still the morning edition, and I am still Oded Grober. Thank you for staying with us. The annual MIP-TV is the world's largest media market, with TV executives and talents all in search of TV's latest innovations and trends. This year, leading Israeli production companies expanded their reach and sold formats to Indonesia and China, to name but a few. To hear more about MIP-TV and what the booming Israeli TV industry had to offer, we're joined in the studio by Jewish News One correspondent Ron Jacobsohn. Good morning, Ron.
Hey, Oded, you're saying I'm still Oded, and I was like, okay, you're not Yael.
No, I'm still keeping my own identity for now. We'll see by the end of the show how that progresses.
Yeah, so MIP-TV was really interesting this year because the focus was on Israel.
Right.
And that was really, really a big thing because for the past few years, the Israeli formats have been booming. It seems like today in the TV world that a format that says on it, made in Israel is kind of a stamp of approval. Like we know it's kosher, so to say, how we like to say here in Israel. And it's fascinating what's happening here.
I heard that when it comes to scripted shows, Israel is #2 in the world when it comes to selling shows to other countries.
Yeah. And it's
That's
interesting.
incredible.
It's interesting how this whole thing happened, because a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, there was the writer's strike in Hollywood,
right.
and they were striving to getting some content on TV because they couldn't get anything from there, and they were looking all around the world. So America was used to getting stuff from Britain and Australia, sometimes South Africa. It wasn't enough there, and all of a sudden the Israelis got into that niche, and since then the door opened wide open, and it's fascinating, really. I know one of the main players. So we have, of course, Keshet, which is one of the Channel 2 franchisers who have been very successful with Homeland and now Rising Star, which is the fastest growing format in the world. Less than a year since
it's a talent show.
It's a talent show,
right?
Which edges that it uses what they know as the second screen. You use your applications on your iPhone and
to vote for your preferred
or tablet, whatever. So Brazil has already launched the show like a couple of weeks ago, first country out of 25. That already have purchased it. You were mentioning Indonesia and China and India as well, which were the Asian markets were kind of like closed off from Israeli format for some reason. I think it was more of a cultural thing than like a boycott thing. But now everything is open for everyone.
So there's some large markets that
very large
dip our toes in.
Now Keshet was riding on the success of Rising Star and was introducing also Boom, which is a new game show that launched here in Israel just a couple of weeks ago with Ido Rosenblum, who is famous not only as a host but also as the husband of the #1 newscaster in the country here.
Right. He also developed the format with some other people.
And so they were pushing that, whoever knows Keshet and wants Rising Star, hey, take Boom as well. So, and Avinir, the CEO of Keshet, was actually giving the keynote speech for this whole Israeli focus in MIP-TV. Some other big players were, of course, Reshet, which is the other Channel 2 franchisor that sold a Game of Chefs that also had its finale this week here in Israel.
Which actually Endemol International bought, I think, a part of Reshet not long ago.
33%, yes,
Right.
which is also a very big seal of approval for Israel, for the Israeli TV industry, that such a giant like Endemol comes here and wants to buy one of the franchisers. So
and that's following a purchase they made of Kuppelman production, which is related to Keshet, so they have their hands in everything.
Definitely. Another big company, and actually someone who premiered this time at MIP, is a company called Acapella that was created by two women executives who went from Channel 10 to create their own production company, and they created this format called The Big Picture. And that's also an interactive format where the people at home can actually win up to $1 million just from playing along from home. They sold worldwide rights to a company called Nordworld, and that means that we will see this Israeli format from this little company that just started all around the world. It's fascinating.
Incredible.
And what they did, a cappella, is that they, because they didn't have a channel to premiere it on,
Right.
they produced
their own
pilot here in
pilot.
Israel in English with an international host to kind of showcase this at MIP, and obviously it helped them.
paid off.
It did pay off.
Seems like it.
Dory Media, another big company that does formats, and Armoza Formats, of course, who announced on the week of MIP that Connected Mechubarim was sold to AOL in the US.
Right.
It's going to be a web series. So
Which
that's
I
also
think could work for the
Yes.
format. I think it's a good thing for the format, a good place for it.
So, as you see, an amazing thing of what's happening with Israel, but a new country is emerging from this whole thing, and that is China. China has sold its first format. I mean, it was just a matter of time until the Chinese will figure out how this is done, and will try to take over the whole market. So, this is another singing competition, and this one we're looking for the new national song. This is still how Chinese will look at things, and we need a national
but
song.
I like the fact that they're looking for original content.
Yes.
there, that everybody can come with their own stuff, and it's not hearing the same old songs that we know again and again.
Well, yeah. Because what we see in most singing competition is that it's just a kind of a karaoke thing where they just do cover versions to famous songs.
So tell me, can anyone just come to MIP-TV and offer, if I have an idea for a show, which I happen to have one or two?
Actually, you can, and I've been to MIP like 8 times, so I know how it works. I mean, some people have booth, and talking about booth, I-24 was premiering at MIP-TV this time around with their own booth, and your CEO, Frank Malul, even sat on a panel and explained to the whole TV industry what I-24 is all about, which is also very nice.
Yeah, I think it was mostly about how we managed to build this whole thing in 100 days, which was pretty impressive.
So, so basically what's happening now, the next stage in Israeli formats, is that we're seeing now venture capital companies who have invested in, in startups in Israel, being that we were the startup nation, now we're becoming the format nation. So they're investing into formats, and Rubicon is a new company that has put aside $55 million in order to invest in new Israeli formats. The talk is that they will invest between $500,000 to $1 million in developing new formats. Something that before they just did at home next to the computer. Now they're going to get $1 million just to do the same thing.
Well, the TV industry in Israel could use every dollar it can take. So thank you so much, Ron.
Thank you.